What's going on, everybody? This is your boy Cody Mac, and welcome back to All Mac No Cheese. This is the first episode of this podcast recorded outdoors, and I want to do this as often as possible. I love being outside, I love recording. People are driving down a road right here, and I'm a little bit like stage fright because this guy right here, he's driving a van, it's all suited up, he's camp ready, and he's probably looking at me like, what's this guy doing? Talking to his phone, holding a microphone, a professional studio microphone. And by the way, I'm trying to get the audio on this thing more consistent, but now that I'm switching my format a little bit and recording with my phone and going places like this, a lot's changing and I'm having a better experience, but it's going to take a little bit to get all the technical stuff worked out. But anyways, what are we talking about today? What are we doing here on All Mac No Cheese, episode 6? So, last episode is a solo episode. This episode is also a solo episode. And the reason for that is because there's just a lot I want to talk about. And just my scheduling this weekend, like I didn't get a guest scheduled. I'm recording this on a Monday after work, actually, sitting off to the side of the road on my way home. I brought all this stuff with me because I knew I wanted to do this eventually. And I'm like, you know what? It's a great day. I got off a little bit earlier than usual. So here we are. And really, there is 3 things I want to talk about today. One of which, of course, if you watched last week's episode, is going to be my progress with quitting marijuana. I actually, after that last episode, when I said, you know what, I'm done. I'm gonna go get rid of all my stuff, and I'm done. I'm putting it down. I did that. I actually did that, and I'm very proud of myself for that because it's a small thing, in the grand scheme. Oh, you stopped smoking weed, and it's a lot smaller than like if I were to stop doing hard drugs. If I had a hard drug problem and I kicked hard drugs, that's like a way bigger feat. So being that it is like a pretty mellow drug that I kicked, it's it's not like, I don't know. It just, on one hand, I don't want to sit here and act like I am climbing Mount Olympus. I don't want to act like I am summiting. I don't even know if that made sense. I was going to say summoning Mount Everest, but I don't think that's the word when you make it to the summit of a mountain. Anyways, I don't want to act like quitting weed is running a marathon, or I guess it is running a marathon. That's actually a pretty damn good analogy, but I'm not doing death sprints and outrunning Usain Bolt, it's not on that level, but we're definitely going to talk about that, and that's what I probably have the most to talk about. So I'm going to talk about that at the end. There's 2 other things I want to talk about, one of which is something that I should have talked about in the last episode, but I was so focused. I was so interested in talking about what we talked about and like kind of, making that big step in my life. I wanted the podcast recording to be what kept me accountable. And I don't know. I don't think the recording part itself has. I think I'm just keeping myself accountable because I want this for myself. I'm doing this for myself. And the things that I'm going to talk about today instead are, one, my recent car accident, which was crazy, which was super crazy. And if you want to see pictures of the aftermath, I will be throwing them up on the Instagram post that announces this episode releasing. So if this episode is out, the Instagram post is up. You can go check it out at CodyMacAttack, and you can see the pictures of the wreck. But what happened was, I've talked about it on the podcast before. I work a lot of hours. I work pretty much a minimum of 10 hours. Today I did 8 hours, and it's like, oh, I'm part-timing. Not a lot of people. I mean, it's getting more common nowadays where a 10-hour workday is the standard. But in a normal world, you should work 8 hours a day, and that's your full-time day, and you're making a living, and you can afford a mortgage. That's what I strongly believe. I think that would be right. I'm not going to say it would be fair, it would be unfair. I'm not going to act like I am a master-level economist and understand the economy on a level to where I could say, "Oh, we could do it. We could all do it." I truthfully, with my limited knowledge, believe if CEOs stopped taking, like thousands of percent raises from the last time I researched this a few years ago, and just took a little bit smaller of a raise so everybody else could get maybe like an extra dollar an hour. Like an extra dollar an hour actually goes a long way when you're working a lot of hours, but um, it's I would love to see a world where we could do 8 hours. Everybody could do 8 hours and still pay the bills. But to pay my bills, because I am, a California homeowner, I got to do these 10, 12-hour days, if not more. And as a result of that, I have a lot less time to live my life. I also commute. That was another thing, is to live and to own a house, I couldn't just move into Los Angeles. Like, I couldn't go and buy a house in Los Angeles where I would have a very good drive to work most days and still make ends meet at my income. And I make good money. Like, I'm not trying to brag about that, but the amount of money I make, you would hope that you can buy a home and live a good life, and especially if how much work I put in to make that money, I would like to see that happen too. No, you gotta live in a commuter town for the most part if you're working in LA. And the best commuter town would be Santa Clarita, in my opinion. But Santa Clarita, I would have spent 50% more on my home for a smaller home, and I didn't want that. I didn't want to get a smaller house for an extra $200,000. That's a pretty significant thing there. So I was like, you know what? I'm used to commuting. I already live in the further commuter town of the Antelope Valley, Palmdale, Lancaster area. I'm going to buy a house out here. I'm going to save a lot of money, and I'm going to get a bigger house. And I don't regret that. I don't at all. I'm very grateful for what I got going on. But it comes with a lack of free time. It's definitely, when you got to drive about an hour each way minimum every day for work, it adds up. It adds up so fast to where, I'm spending 10 hours a day at work. I'm spending at least 10 hours a week driving. So that turns a 10-hour day into a 12-hour day, a 12-hour day into a 14-hour day. And to be more accurate, most of the time, it turns into like 15 or 16 hours if I'm doing 12-hour day. 15 or 16 hours of my day is pretty much just gone. I'm getting home at the time I'd need to go to bed to get 8 hours of sleep. So I feel like I framed this pretty well to have it make sense that I don't get 8 hours of sleep pretty much ever. I don't operate on a healthy amount of sleep. I operate on closer to 5 to 6 hours a night. And I do all right. When I get 8 hours, if I sleep in on a weekend, I could feel the effects. I could feel that I am so much more full of juice, so much more ready for the day. But at the same time, if I do get nothing but 8 hours of sleep a night, I work, I get home, I go straight to bed, I get nothing done, I have no actual free time, it's just rest time for the next day at work, that affects my mental health pretty negatively. And I'm at a weird balance where I am mentally pretty good off in the mental health department. But physically, due to my sleep schedule and stuff, sometimes I am not doing all that hot. But mentally, even when I am tired, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good still. So I found a little bit of a balance there. But there's also, I guess I'll go over my weekend real quick. The weekend that I just had. Friday night, I got home from work. I think I might have taken a nap. I might not have. And that's one thing I started doing. I take an hour to 2 hour nap on Friday nights before I go out and enjoy my night, so that because of the car accident. Just to kind of say it how it is. I know I'm beating around the bush a little bit with this car accident thing for the moment, but we'll get there. I try to have a Monster Energy on me. I try to have some form of, you're not going to fall asleep. You're going to be able to go out, have a good time, and you're going to get home safe and awake. And so I went out on Friday night after taking a little nap. I was out late. I was out till 3 a.m. Or I wasn't out till 3, but I went to bed at 3 a.m. on Friday. I woke up the next day at 7 a.m. to go fishing, and boy, oh boy, was I sleep deprived this weekend. But I still had such an incredible weekend. Such an incredible weekend. I went fishing. Fishing was all right. Didn't catch nothing. We got out to the lake and started fishing when I wanted to be heading home. So I was a little irritated, you could say, just that, I was way behind schedule on my day. I had a lot of chores I wanted to knock out. I was going to go fishing. I was going to come home. I was going to get a lot done. I didn't get home until I wanted to get home at 1 p.m., 2 p.m. I got home at 5:30, 6 p.m. from fishing, and I was wasn't really my ideal day in terms of productivity. That part dragged me a little bit, but that night I went out with friends again, and we pretty much gallivanted the town. We ended up back at my house for an hour, and it was just great company and great times and really fun stuff. And then I had to wake up early on Sunday as well because I was helping my dad with something that I didn't need to help him with, but I wanted to. I wanted to get a little bit of experience in the thing I was helping him with, which is towing a trailer. So I towed a trailer for my first time on actual roads. That was good. It went well. It was fine. It was a lot easier than I expected. I didn't have to back the trailer up. So the hardest part of towing a trailer, I have yet to really get that full experience. And I still want to, but it'll come when it comes, I know the gist of backing a trailer up and what you got to do. So I'm not too worried about it when the time does come. But yeah, needless to say, I was sleep deprived again on Sunday. Sunday night came around, took a nap. No, I took a nap on Saturday. I didn't take a nap on Sunday, but on Sunday I got a Monster. I drank my Monster, and I went out to Sunday dinner. That a few of my friends, they have a dinner night every night on Sunday. So I went to that. We played some Magic the Gathering. My friend Sky's son, Steven, played his first game of Magic. He loved it. It was a great time. I had a wonderful night all 3 nights of this weekend. And today, I might have had a few annoyances this morning because, once again, when you don't sleep a lot on the weekend, Monday you're not going to be as full of juice as you'd hope. But, after I got through the morning crankiness of waking up at 3:30, I've had a great day. I'm in a great mood. I'm doing good. I feel like somebody's freaking coming up on me out of these woods. I just heard a twig snap. Scary movie stuff, dude, but it's daylight. I'm good. So, I had a great weekend, but it came at the cost of my sleep. How does this tie into my car accident? It was similar situation, but I was not taking naps yet. I wasn't making sure I had an energy drink in my car, in my vehicle, ready for me in case I was tired when I was about to head home. And I went out on a Friday night to a ska show. Ska, if you don't know ska music, it's like Sublime. Sublime is the biggest ska artist, the biggest ska band in the world, I would say. And so I went to a show, all Sublime-esque music, and it was incredible. It was an incredible show. It was so packed. The pit was going crazy. I was learning ska dance moves on the spot. It was sick. I had a great night. It was a great show. One of the better shows I've been to this year, I'd say. And I get in my car. It's about 1 a.m., and, I go and I start. It was probably 1:30, but I drive. My dog's at my parents' house. I go to my parents' house. I pick up the dog, and then I start heading home. I woke up at 3:30 the day before. I am driving home at 2 a.m. I've been up for 23 hours. You shouldn't be driving home when you've been up for 23 hours. Not without some form of caffeine. I'm not going to say oh yeah, just don't get sleep and drink caffeine. That's unhealthy. That's not the lifestyle I'm trying to promote. I'm a blue-collar dude who works a lot of hours. I'll be honest, I do it. I do it a lot. It's what it is, and, that's a much better alternative to doing all of the blue-collar stuff, not getting enough sleep, and then driving home and not making sure you got a little pick-me-up to get you there, My preferred pick-me-up, Monster Energy. Monster, sponsor me, please. I love you. And I don't drink an energy drink a day. I rarely drink energy drinks during the week unless I got to bed. Same situation. I keep one on me. I keep one in my lunchbox, keep it cold. So if I'm driving home and I start realizing my eyelids are getting heavy, drink a Monster. Screw it. It's way better of an option than what I experienced this Friday night. So I'm driving home, 2 a.m. I live 10 minutes from my parents' house. I made it halfway there. I couldn't tell you exactly when I fell asleep. I couldn't. I think I made it quite a ways asleep, just to be honest with you. But I couldn't tell you when I fell asleep. I have the cruise control. I had the cruise control on that vehicle that would keep me within the lines of the lane. It had these sensors. It would see the lanes. It would keep me going straight. It would assistive steering, basically. Lane assist, that's what it's called. Found it, remembered, and I don't know how far that brought me. I know I had it turned on, and I'm sure my foot was probably still hovering over that gas pedal, and when I fell asleep, my foot turned to lead, which means I don't know how fast I was going, but we're getting to the impact. Only my car was involved, no other vehicles, thank God. Thank God. I don't know how I'd live with myself if I would have hurt someone. And if I would have hit another vehicle, it would have been really bad. It was already really bad. I fell asleep behind the wheel, and I veered off the road to the right, and I woke up as soon as my passenger front tire hit the curb. I woke up because obviously, I don't know how, I was going at least 50, 55, the speed limit at that road. And there's a strong chance I was going much faster due to the sleepy lead foot that fell right on the gas pedal. And I'm asleep. I don't know. I don't know that I'm speeding into oblivion. And I hit the curb, and I wake up. And as soon as I wake up, my windshield shatters in front of my face. And it's I haven't talked about this in a while, and it still freaks me out. It was the closest I've ever come to death, and I'll get to that part. But, so I hit the curb, my windshield shatters. I don't know what's going on in the vehicle at this point. I take my foot off the gas. I don't hit the brake. I had a hyper-awareness that drunk people survive accidents. As soon as I opened my eyes, as soon as the windshield shattered, I knew. I was like, I don't know if I've ever been so sharp in my life. And I knew, like, oh, this is bad. I'm in a car accident, a bad car accident right now. Like, it's happening. I don't know how this is going to end. I don't know where my car is going to end up, but this ain't good. This is really not good. And I gotta stay loose. If I tense up, I'm going to break something. That's all I could tell myself. Why is this car stopped here? Carry on. You don't get to watch me record my podcast. Keep moving. It'll be on YouTube. I should tell him. I should go over there. No. So, hit the curb. Windshield shatters. I remain loose. I do my best to not tense up, to let myself fly around like a rag doll inside of this car, because there was like I'm so grateful that my brain works this way that I instantly start referencing very useful information in this instance. One of which was obviously the thing that everybody knows: drunk people they're usually not the one to die in a drunk driver related car accident. And it's because they're so loose. It's because they don't tense up. So I said, stay loose. Stay as loose as you can, please, And I'm yelling. As this car is flying and hitting stuff, I'm yelling, fuck, no, like, something to that extent. And even though I'm yelling that, even though I'm yelling this, I'm staying loose. I'm panicked, but I'm loose. It was a very weird experience, and I'm proud of myself for remaining loose. Then, I'm basically just waiting for the car to stop moving. Another thing, I meant to mention this. Another thing that I referenced mentally within myself at the time was that, I work in Hollywood, and I have buddies in special effects, and one of them told me stories about a stunt driver with a stunt gig they were doing, and that they had this truck rolling like 7 times, and they were just some old lady, like a 70-year-old woman. She's just and she jumps out like, all right, let's do it again. Like, totally fine. She knows how to get through this rolling truck incident because she's trained for it. So all I'm thinking is, I just got to enjoy the ride. Not enjoy it, but that was just the 2 things I was thinking of. Stay loose. Let your body do what it's going to do. Because if you tense up, you're going to break something. You're going to break a bone. You're going to get hurt. So I stayed loose. I'm waiting for the car to stop moving. The movement of this car was insane. I couldn't explain it to you. It almost felt like I was floating, but I knew I was still hitting stuff. I knew this car was flying every which direction. The car ended up upside down. And as soon as it stopped moving, I locked my eyes on the passenger door window, and I go and I dive for it, and I just assumed that it had broken. I assumed my windows were broken, and I was going to climb out a broken window. No, I get to the window. It's rolled up. It's rolled up, and at this point, I'm like, oh, no. I'm a little bit, and I didn't even say, oh, no, actually. I was so in the zone, so locked in, that I saw the window wasn't down. I look up, because at this point, the bottom of the car is in the air. So I look up to where the button would be, and I hit the button to roll the window down. In this instance, I'm rolling it up, and it works. It works. The car was still had power to it. I didn't have, the motor wasn't running at that point, because it couldn't. A motor upside down. Engines aren't designed to run upside down. That thing was flooded, destroyed, who knows. But the window worked. Thank God. So I roll the window up. I climb out of the window. And then, there's a part of this story that I haven't talked about again since I mentioned it. I picked up my dog before this. My dog was in the car. I had totally forgotten until I got out of the car. I get out of the car, and this is definitely the most, this is where it all set in. This is where it absolutely all set in. I climb out of the car, I look down the street, there's dust everywhere. There's like smoke and dust everywhere. Everywhere. As far as I could see. Like, I have low visibility due to all of this crap I had kicked up into the air during this accident. My roof rack had been ripped off of the car, and it was laying in the middle of the road. I went out, and I grabbed that, and I dragged it onto the sidewalk because I didn't want somebody to come flying by and run it over and get hurt. I drag it onto the sidewalk, and, during all of this, I'm looking at my car. I'm looking at the state of my vehicle, and I think I was trying to decide if I was dead or not. For a little bit there, I didn't know if I was acting as if I was alive. I immediately called my mom. I didn't call 911. I called my mom. And this was a very loud accident. Let me tell you what I hit, now that we've gotten to the part. I got out of the car. Car's upside down, rammed, pretty much like the windshield is jammed into the curb of the street. I don't know how it ended up in that direction, but I was driving this way. I veered off this way. My car was pointing that way upside down at the end of it. Totally turned sideways, and the curb is what stopped my car, I think, from moving further. Looking at this wreckage, I still could not even begin to tell you what my car did. There's no videos from the outside of there's no videos at all of this crash. I tried asking the guy whose house I knocked his wall down, his little pony wall in front of his house down. I asked him, I was like, hey, do you know if your neighbor, or do you have a ring video of it? I'm really curious, of what happened. All in all, I know what happened. I fell asleep and I ran off the road, but I want to know just the play-by-play of what I really just survived. There was nothing. The closest thing I got was a 3-minute snapshot before and after, basically, of the accident. because the pictures were taken 3 minutes apart by somebody's Ring camera, but it didn't get a video of it. And I call my mom. The guy is... Or wait, I got to tell you what I hit. So what I had hit, as soon as I hit the curb, first thing I did was I obliterated this guy's mailbox. They found the mailbox like a quarter mile down the road. This mailbox was torn to smithereens. It was victim zero. Like, it was the first thing my car hit. That thing was gone. It was so destroyed. Next thing I hit was the light post right next to the mailbox. I genuinely believe my roof rack saved not my life, but my dog's life. So when I got out of the car, I heard her collar jingle inside of the car, and my heart dropped. I thought I was going to get the car open for her to get out and have a nightmare before me. I thought I was going to have a terrible scene of my dog mangled and hurt and, like, not going to make it type of situation. As I'm calling my mom, I'm all over the place. After I hit the light post, then I knocked the guy's wall down. I don't know what happened after that. Light post got split in half. Back to where I was. Sorry that this is so chaotic of a retelling. I'm calling my mom, and my mom answers the phone the second time, and as my parents both said, it's never anything good when your kid's calling you at 2 in the morning. It's never good when your kid is calling you at 2 in the morning. So they already know something happened. They pick up the phone. I say, Mom, I got in an accident. My car is done, but I am okay. I need you to get here. I need you to get here. And I'm still trying to get the car open for Molly at the time, my dog Molly. The guy who lived right there, he had come out at this point, and he said, hey, I'm going to call 911 for you, dude. You all good? And he was telling me, like, hey, don't sit over there. If somebody doesn't see your car, you're going to die. You know, they're going to hit your car into you. So he brings me over into his yard while I'm on the phone with my mom. Molly, during this interaction, just crawls out of the car. She just comes out. She's unfazed. Totally unfazed. She just walks up to me. Her tail's wagging. She's like, what's up? What's going on? I'm like, no way. I was so grateful that she was not freaking out and that she didn't try to run away. She came right to Pop. You know, like, she was such a good girl. She handled it so freaking well. And at this point, you know, I go over, sit on this guy's wall. Somebody else had come by in their car, and they stopped, and they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, if you could just maybe park here and put on your flashers for a second so nobody runs into this, that would be helpful. And they're like, okay, but seriously, are you fine? Because this is fucking crazy. That was their words. Because this isn't an accident. Like, you see that accident, you expect somebody's dead. You expect somebody is severely injured to dead. Everybody that has seen pictures of this thing has said exactly that. And I'm fine. I'm fine. I got a few scratches on my back from crawling out of the car and sliding across the asphalt with debris, you know? And cops got there quick. My parents got there pretty quick. Cops asked me questions. They're definitely expecting a dead drunk guy because it's 2 a.m. on a Saturday morning, Friday night, you know? And they see that I'm totally coherent. I'm not drunk. I'm not under the influence. I was at a rock show. I tell them the whole story, and they don't even run sobriety tests on me. They don't even feel the need to. Everybody's looking at me like they're seeing a ghost, and they kind of are. Like, the fact that I took 0 damage. My dog took 0 damage. That's an act of God. That is an act of God. I have not been religious most of my life. I don't know what I am now. I'm not like a devout Christian out of nowhere. I'm not going to go to the Christian church and say, your God is the God. But, you know, it really gets you thinking. Something like that. A miracle. You experience a double miracle. Me and my dog. Insane. Insane to think back on. Anyways, cops show up. Fire department shows up. They check me out. They're like, all right, sign this saying you don't want to go to the hospital. Cops say, sit tight for the tow truck. And then when they flip your car over, you can get out whatever you need real quick. Do all of that. You know, me and my parents are just kind of like still in disbelief that I'm okay. You know, we're looking at it and we're like, oh my God. You know, we're just all, it was a very, very strange night. And then After all said and done, my parents drive me back to. They drive me back to their house. I just went to sleep on their couch. I didn't even want to go home. I didn't have a car. Obviously, I didn't have a vehicle at that point. So, that's basically the story. I have a new vehicle now. I love my new vehicle. I am like I'm good. The insurance covered it. I was afraid that the gap insurance would have to kick in and I was going to have to just figure out, like I'm not going to get anything back and I'm going to have to figure out a vehicle. Luckily, that wasn't the case. They gave me back enough to make a down payment and I'm good. I got a reliable vehicle that gets me to and from work again. And I learned the most valuable lesson of my life, which is more than just don't drive drowsy, be smart, take care of yourself. Which is this whole incident is a big reason too why I wanted to quit smoking weed. I think this was a big growing up moment for me. That was like, hey, dude, you're way better off without this stuff. And I've had a lot more energy, just in general, when I'm not smoking. Like even compared to when I wasn't smoking, but I was still going to smoke later that day, and I was smoking every day. At some point in the day, I have so much more energy than that already. And today's day 8. I haven't even made it to like the full 24-hour mark that would make it 8 days. I'm over a week now. I'm over the first week. But I learned a valuable lesson. Don't drive drowsy. Make sure you have a monster. If you're going to go out and have a fun time, do everything you can to make sure you get home alive. And if that means you're sleeping in the vehicle at wherever you're at, it's what you're doing. If that means that you're crashing on a couch because you just can't drive 5 minutes down the road to get home, you're that tired, it is what you are doing. It's just, I have taken that very seriously. I've been trying to get more sleep, but it's hard. It is truly hard for me, still wanting to live as much life as I want to live, the amount of life that makes my life feel full. My life feels incredibly full right now, like in all departments, friends, relationships, work. I'm fulfilled. I am fulfilled, and I think a big part of that is now that I've quit smoking weed, that fulfillment's really setting in, and I'm chasing what I want to chase, man. Like I'm doing this podcast in the middle of out here right now. This is something I've wanted to do for a while, and like after work on a Monday, I would have not done this if I was still smoking. I would be, I'll record it at home after I smoke. I'll record it high. And I'm stoked. I'm stoked to be doing this, and I've been just getting so much more done at home. And all of this ties in with that accident really being the biggest wake-up call of my life. Because I don't want to die. I don't want to have this cut short. I want my life to be beautiful, man, and I'm doing everything in my power step by step now to make that happen. All the procrastination and like, oh, whatever, I'm just going to get high that I was doing before, I ain't doing that. No, like I've been holding it down at work. I've been getting done what I got to get done. Now I'm getting done what I want to get done. And that is, as well as what I got to get done, it's a great feeling. It's a really great feeling. And just appreciating life, the air I breathe, the company I am blessed to be surrounded by. I'm so much more grateful for all of that now that I had a near-death experience and walked away without a scratch. That, like, whatever God you believe in, if you believe in God at all, if you believe in energy, I don't know. It's just impossible for me, even being somebody who didn't believe in a higher power necessarily, maybe believe in the spiritual, but maybe not a specific God, like that a God exists. It's just the universe. It's just earth and energy, stuff like that. I guess I'm not like, it's not as deep as I'm making it sound with those words, but I had a like, it just feels like it doesn't happen for nothing. You don't survive something like that unscathed for no reason. And whether the reason does come from a higher power, from a God, or it comes from me, it's just me defining and establishing and assigning that reason and meaning to the event it doesn't happen for nothing. So, I gotta live my life, man. I gotta live it up. I gotta live it to the fullest. I gotta go out on my weekend nights and have fun with my friends because it means so much to me. Yeah, it seems like, oh, you're just going out and partying. No, I'm going out and spending time with the people that mean the most to me. Sure, we party when we do that, but it's not about the party. It's about who we're partying with. That's what makes the party fun, you know? And that's what makes you feel good after the party's over. And, yeah, I talked last week about short story long. I feel like I've said all I can about the accident, and I'll move on to the next thing, which is, that I want to write a book. Very big jump, right? I've wanted to write a book for a while. I got this story in my head that I've been working on for like 10 years, but it doesn't have much of a solid plot. It has a lot of plot points. It has a lot of major events, and it has a lot of characters. And I've just been imagining it, like literally building it in my imagination for 10 to 12 years now. This one story. And I want to actually start writing this one story. I don't want it to just be in my head anymore. And I've written the first paragraph. I don't know if it'll remain. I don't know how often I'll work on this. Who knows if I'll ever finish it? But I'll admit to a flaw. Maybe not a flaw, but I'm not a big AI guy because AI threatens my job. I used AI to generate like a logo for this book. Oh, I hate how good it is. I hate how good it is because it's referencing everything ever from photography to art, other people's artwork. It's just basically stealing human creativity to generate and emulate human creativity. The logo it made was so sick. So freaking sick. And that kind of lit a little bit of a fire under my butt. And I've always been this guy who's like, I don't want to use AI in my creativity. I'm not an artist. Like, I am an artist. I'm not a visual artist. I'm not a graphics guy. I am like a writer. I'm a storyteller. I'm not always the best at telling stories, too. That's the funny thing is I'm trying to get better. When I really write a story, I can write a story well. On the fly, you see how much I tangent, dude. I could short story long. And short story long isn't good storytelling, but I'm all right at writing and like writing scripts for YouTube videos. I've studied it. I know kind of the beats you got to hit. And I have time to really perfect that before I go and record the script. So I'm a little better in that regard. So I think I'm excited to actually write a story on paper, meant to be read, not meant to be spoken or anything like that. Not meant to be like a commentary for a video. And yeah, why? How did I get into that part? I was still talking about the AI. Anyways, I've always been the graphics thing. That's how I did. Okay, back to what I was saying. I'm like a physical, more of like a physical artist. I get not even that. That would be like a sculptor. I'm a literary artist, more than I am a visual graphic artist. I've made music, I've made beats. I want to get back into that too, just in my free time as a hobby. I don't even really care about releasing it that much. I probably will just cuz I like putting stuff online, but the book is the big thing I want to work on. And the AI part of it, I'm not going to use AI to write it at all. I don't even want to use AI to we'll see. Maybe, I don't know, dude. I'm trying to be a little open-minded to it, I guess, but it feels morally wrong just because it challenges my job. The more AI is used and enabled and uplifted. So I'm like, man. But my idea with using AI at all to do these graphic things is, I use the AI to generate me an image, and that's kind of the proof of concept. If I love it, I take that to a human artist, and I say, hey, straight up, I used AI to generate this, and I would like you to recreate it from the ground up as a human, and I'd almost want to offer them double their rate. And since you are copying AI, I want to accommodate you for that because AI hurts you and your business And since I used it for a proof of concept, when I could have hired you for the proof of concept and we could have gone back and forth on this for a while until we got it right, AI kind of got it right away. And, since that takes work away from you, I want to pay you more. That's kind of how I want to go about it, because it is a tool that makes what I want to do accessible to me. Because I don't have a bunch of money to go spending on graphic artists. But when the day comes that this story's written and I'm like, you know what? I'm ready to release this. I need art. I need an artwork for this. That's how I want to go about it. But, basically this story, all the characters in it are inspired by me and my friends. The main character is just me. I'm not even going to lie to you and act like I'm writing this character that's all complex and deep and different than me in certain ways. No, the main character is me. It's just me. Its name isn't Cody in the book. It's Macaulay. But my nickname is Mac. Like, I'm Cody Mac. And I was like, what name starts with Mac? Macaulay. I actually really like that. And I kind of look like Macaulay Culkin when he was younger. When I was a kid, I looked just like him. So I was like, Macaulay's perfect. Macaulay is the perfect name for this character. And it's basically a story, to give you the little synopsis here. I don't want to spoil too much. But there's magical powers that exist, but they've been asleep for a long time. They've gone to rest. They've been put on ice. But certain events are happening that are once again stirring the magic in the world, and the more magic that gets stirred, the more magic that magic then stirs. It's a chain reaction, like a nuclear bomb, where it starts with one atom splitting, and next thing you know, you have a ginormous area is changing in a crazy, explosive fashion, and it's kind of like that. Like, the world of magic starts waking up in the modern world, kind of like where me and you live right now. And as this magic wakes up, just more and more of it happens, and the world is reintroduced to what it has forgotten ever existed. And there's a lot of very deep kind of spiritual, I guess, It would be considered spiritual by many. There's a lot of spiritual stuff going on in this story that kind of ushers this age of magic into the world in a way that isn't... Like, the biggest hurdle I'm having right now is figuring out how I introduce an entire world of magic to the planet that has never known it. And how does it become normal? What kind of time jump do I gotta make for people to have become accustomed to this? And now we have spellcasters and different stuff like that. And the magic system, I'm really excited for the magic system. The magic system's one of the most thought out parts yet. And it came the latest. It's one of the most recent things I've added, but I was watching, it was like watching JJK and Hell's Paradise and all these other shows that have like these weird magic systems, like the gimmick, the thing that makes the fights special in these animes and stuff. I was like, how do I do that? What do I want mine to be? And I'm pretty happy with where I landed. I'm pretty happy with where I ended up getting it to, So I'm excited for you guys to see that. I don't want to spoil much. The name of the story is Fate, and the first book. I'm way too ambitious. I already got 5 planned. I hope I actually do this. I really do, because it's a lot of time, a lot of work, but it's also the easiest thing to work on at my lunch during work. I got 45 minutes for lunch. I could sit down on my phone, start typing. I could bring my laptop, start typing, And I love to write. I used to write stories when I was a kid. I don't know why I stopped, but I'm excited to just get back into this thing that I probably really haven't done since I was like 12 years old, writing a story, writing a book. And the biggest I ever wrote as a kid, it wasn't good, but I wrote like a 100-page book, all on lined notebook paper, and I just stapled it together. And I remember my godfather, he was the only one who read it, and he was so supportive, dude. I love that guy. Shout out to you, Chuck, if you're watching this. Love you, buddy. Miss you, man. He moved. What a jerk. But, yeah, it's called Fate. The first book would be called The Volume of Awakening. Second book, Volume of Something. That's like the names of the books are all gonna be Fate, Volume of Something. It's kind of like I think Game of Thrones did something like that, right? But did it? No. No. The last book was called like The Song of Fire and Ice. I don't think they were all called The Song of or The Book of or anything like that. My series would be called Fate Volume of whatever. You know, Fate is the name of the series, but Volume of, because there's other stuff out there called Fate. But I really like the name. I like the name too much. It's the only real name that makes sense for the story. And it's exciting stuff. It's very exciting stuff to me. I just wanted to share that. And that's another reason I wanted to quit smoking weed. Because smoking weed, it was killing all my productivity, especially when it came to passion projects, to hobbies, the things that really ignite my soul the most outside of my people, you know, is these creative endeavors. So I'm excited. I'm excited to just be more creative in this sober journey of, you know, I'm already 7 days in, and I'm ready to talk about that now. That is the last thing I really want to talk about here. Let me real quick here. I got to check the time because I use my phone to record this, and my phone has the clock. All right, so I'm 46 minutes in, which means it's about... Okay, cool. That works. That works great. I'm still going to be home at the time I'd usually be leaving, which is awesome. I love that. It's a great day. I'm not making as much money as I need to be making today, but it's a great day for this, for my soul. You know, my pockets, they've been doing pretty good, but I'm trying to just save up a lot of money right now. So give and take, you know, it's the give and take of what I do, of work, the highs and lows, I guess, but everything can be seen as like silver linings. There's always a silver lining, you know, and the silver lining today, I get to come out here, do this, still get home at a really decent time, and get more done. Like, I'm going to go home. I'm cleaning my house today. I've already got it on my schedule of what I'm doing. Instead of going home and smoking weed, watching cartoons, and eating cereal, I'm going to go home. I'm going to wipe down my bathroom counters. I'm going to wipe down, I'm going to put some stuff away, and I might clean my shower. I haven't decided on that part yet. Sorry. That car looked like somebody I knew, so I was like trying to glance, see if it was. I don't think it was. So let's talk about weed. I've been sober for 7 days now, and I don't really have too much to say yet. I feel like I do, but I don't. And I realized that earlier today is like I want to come out here and say how much has changed. But I'm realizing I'm still not, like, back to baseline. I'm so much closer. Like, literally, the first day off of it, I already felt so much better, so much more livelier and full of juice. And it gets more and more every day. And my soul is, like, on fire. My emotions are on fire, and I love it. It's like a beautiful feeling, even when I'm emotional, kind of like getting sentimental about stuff. It's like, man, I felt things over all these years that I've been smoking, but this feels like the first time in a very long time that I'm like super genuinely feeling these things. There's no numbing to it. Like, even if I'd feel stuff while I was high, or even when I wasn't high, but still in that period of I'm gonna get high later today, it was numb, dude. Like, my whole body was just foggy and numb, not just the brain. Like, I had emotional fogginess too. And now that I've been sober, you know, like, last night, I kind of, it's going to sound weak of me, I teared up a little bit, and I apologized to myself. I said, man, I'm sorry I've been doing this to you for so long. I'm sorry that your 20s were spent high. I'm 29. I started at 20 years old, smoking every day. I'm getting 1 year of my 20s, a half of a year of my 20s, sober, off weed. And it's kind of messed up that I did that to myself, in my opinion. Now that I'm feeling these feelings again, I'm coming back to life. Like, I didn't realize how much of a zombie I was until I wasn't. And I'm realizing it more and more every day. Like, man, this is kind of profound. This is kind of intense. Even though it's not, it is. When I really look back over the course of this week, it's like, man, every single day I'm coming back to life. And to compare today to last Sunday, the day that I said I'm done and I put it down, wow, what a difference. And, I straight up apologized to myself. Hey, man, I'm sorry I've been doing this to you. I'm sorry I've been putting you through this, and that I've hindered so much just by doing. Oh my God, is there a horse? It's like horse crap I smell. Why are you driving with horse crap, car? The joys of recording outside. Yeah, I really am so much happier and livelier now that I'm not smoking. The brain fog's going away, but it's not fully gone yet. I kind of feel like it came back a little bit. Like the initial surge of clearing my head up a little bit, I was like, oh, dude, this is great. And now that it's been 8 days and it's not as much of a shell shock anymore to my system, it's like, okay, I'm still a little bit hazy. I'm still a little bit like, and even one of my cousins who's been through also quit after a very long time going. He said, like, give it a couple 2 or 3 weeks and you'll be a lot closer to normal, and he even said today when I saw him, he's like, yeah, you still ain't there, but you're making that progress, just based on his own experience, obviously. So there is still that. Like, I feel like there's still such a room to grow that I don't have much to say yet because I'm still getting through it, but I could say this much, which is, it's a process. It's ongoing, and I'm here for it. Life hasn't been this exciting in so long. Like, the experience of, like, I wonder what tomorrow's sober is going to feel like. It's like, it's fun. It's exciting. I love it. I'm absolutely loving life more than I have in a while. Not to say I wasn't loving life while I was high, but now I could, like, actually indulge in that love of life in a way I physically and mentally could not while I was actively smoking weed every day. And it's weird. It's weird that it's only taken 8 days to get that far. It didn't even take 8 days. It probably took like 2 or 3 days to get there, and it gets stronger. It peaked over the weekend, definitely, that feeling, And that was my first weekend sober. My first weekend, like, waking up, what am I going to do? Usually I wake up and I'm going for it because why not? What do I got to do today? And, like, going through a weekend sober and having an incredible, like, one of my best weekends in a long time. It just goes to show, like, you probably enjoyed that a little more because you were present for it. You weren't all stony baloney. And that kind of brings me to the next thing, which means a lot, which actually meant a lot to me, was somebody that I met kind of recently, and haven't spent too much time with yet. The first time they met me, I was absolutely stoned. And they didn't think anything of it. They weren't knocking me for it. It's not like they disliked me for it. Her best friend, is a big-time pothead. And even though I was stoned, it wasn't like there was any judgment cast. Since I've been sober, they went out of their way to reach out and say, hey, sober looks really good on you. Keep it up. And I shout out to you, Sky. Thank you so much. I know you said it just to, might have seemed small to you, but it meant so much to me that you reached out and said that. And other people too. Like, I think my parents have mentioned too that they've seen the improvement. Maybe not even improvement, but the change. For me, it's an improvement. For me, it's a positive change. And but my friend Sky, she said, looks good on you. And I asked her, I was like, so, genuine question as somebody who kind of met me recently. And so you got that initial view of me straight into stone. That's all you ever knew me as. And then from that, you got to see now, me a week sober because I was at her place last night with some friends for that Sunday dinner. And, that Magic game and whatnot with her son. And it was cool. It was such a good time. But when, like, I asked her, is it noticeable? She said, big time. Something to that extent, like she said, you're so much more livelier. I'm proud of you. Keep it up. And one of my best friends, I gotta say that now. I have so many best friends. I can't call anybody my one best friend. But one of them, Giuseppe, he reached out after watching last week's episode, and he said, dude, I don't know if I've ever related more to you, and I've always related a ton to you. Something to that extent. I'm paraphrasing, but he pretty much just said, after that podcast, I relate to you more than ever, dude. Like, and he was super stoked and super proud. He quit smoking weed years ago at this point. I don't know if... I got to talk to him. I want to sit down and catch up and talk with him. It's been so long. But I want to talk to him about his experience and what really got him to quit. If it was really just, it wasn't working for me, it was making me paranoid, or if it was like, no, it was this. It was exactly this, because he's a hustler. He runs his own company. If you live in the AV and you got a pool and you need that thing cleaned, hit up my boy Giuseppe Pool and Spa. Is that my dad? No. Same car as my dad. But, like, Giuseppe said a bunch of really kind words too. And, like, I got a lot of love on that podcast, not even from people who just watched it, but from people who saw the post saying, like, hey, I'm putting it down. I'm done. And I've gotten so much support in such a big way, and it's made me so grateful that I decided to make this a public ordeal for myself. Not just something that I say I'm going to do and then I go do it in silence like the last time I tried. I put this out there, and I said straight up, like, hey, this is kind of, people know I've been doing it for so long. And, like, my ex-girlfriend from 2019 hit me up and said, well? And I said, what, are you here to give me shit because I'm quitting after I told you 7 or 8 years ago that I never would? And she's like, no, I would never do that. I've just wanted this for you for a long time, and I'm curious how it's going. And she was stoked, and, like, it's just cool. Like, getting, not even cool. It is cool. It's cool, and it's nice, and it's warm, and I feel the love. I really feel the love of, like, my people got my back, man, and I love you guys, and I got your back. I hope you know that. I know you know that. I'd go to war for freaking so many people, man. My tribe. Oh, I'm such a blessed guy, man. Everything I got in my life. It don't get much better. Sure, I could use a little more money, a little more time in the day. But when you got what I got, I couldn't ask for a damn thing. I couldn't. I really couldn't, man. And yeah, it's just been a beautiful week. The most beautiful week I've lived through in a long time. And I'm excited to see what comes next for my brain to get more clear, and just to be better. Just to be better than I've been for so long now. Yeah, once again, I feel like I could easily right now start going short story long about this weed thing, and the quitting and sobering up and whatnot. But all I could say, man, I highly recommend this to anybody, absolutely anybody. And, I was talking to somebody else at work that's like, yeah, when I get off work, I go home, I take a look at what I got to do. I go, I charge a bowl, I pop a tall boy, and I get to work. And if you could do that, power to you. Power to you. I couldn't. And I had to recognize that. I had to accept that. And that's a hard pill to swallow because I want to believe, oh, I'm a high-functioning stoner. I could smoke a bunch of weed and I can get everything done I need to. No. I smoke a bunch of weed, and it makes it too easy for me to say, but the TV and the show I want to watch and the cereal, like literally stereotypical stoner crap. It's all right there before me. And I know myself. When I'm high, I say yes to all of that, and I say no to the things I actually want to do. It is very, very rare that I get high and do what I actually want to do instead of some stoner shit. And that's why I had to put it down. And originally, I've been saying this whole week, I'm going at least 6 months. I want to go until 2027, and we'll see how I feel in January. If I want to try it, I don't want to do it daily, but if I want to take a puff every few weekends, or if somebody they got a joint, I'll take a hit off it, something like that, because that's all it would take at that point without a tolerance for me. That's all it ever took before I had a tolerance. One hit, and I'm on cloud 9. So, there's still that possibility, but honestly, as I go, even throughout the course of today, this morning, 6 months felt a lot more like what I wanted. Right now, like, I'm not going to say forever, but I'm kind of leaning towards forever, It's one of those things where, obviously, things will change. This will become less of a big deal in time once I'm not a smoker. Like, I don't smoke at all. I don't smoke at all right now over the last course of this week. But once it's out of my brain, I don't tempt it. I'm not craving it, nothing like that. That'll be when, it'll probably get easier to consider doing it again, just based on the fact that it won't be such a profound point in my life. And we'll see. We'll see what happens in January. But that's the mark I've set for myself. And, I just really don't want to go back to that. I don't. And if smoking weed once puts this idea in my head that I got to go buy some and I'm going to be that guy again, and it's like, oh, I just do it on the weekends, but I'm going to buy it in bulk to save money. It's all dumb. It's all dumb. I can't do that. I cannot do that to myself. I got to be strategic if I ever do it again. And the big thing is, maybe I just never buy it again. If somebody wants to share, sure, hey, I'll partake. I ain't showing up with it. I ain't going to go spend my money on it, because that's just, once I start doing that again, it just shows, oh, yeah, you could do that. No, it's not what I want. It's really not what I want. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, to kind of wrap this up, I do want to talk about cravings, talk about urges, because I haven't mentioned that yet, except just in passing. The urges are still there. They come and go. But they definitely come at the same times of day that I would be smoking had I still been smoking right now, which is as soon as I get off work, I get a craving. As soon as I'm told I'm free to go, that triggers a craving in me. I got to say, no, that's not what I'm going to do. What am I actually going to do? Let's sit down. Let's look at our little schedule we have made. What are we going to do? And that's why today I'm sitting here doing this, because I got in my vehicle after work and I was like, what am I going to do? I want to smoke weed, but I'm not going to. It's not what I do. It's not an option. So here I am recording this. I got to go drop off some stuff at my buddy's house, the last of my weed stuff. I'm giving it away to him. And, then I'm going to go home and clean up. And that's what I'm going to do instead. And that's just what I decided. It's like, all right, cool, locked in. And I still get those cravings, like the weekend. The weekend was a little hard in the morning specifically. But on the nights, I'll be honest, Friday and Saturday night, I drank a little bit. So it made it a little easier, honestly. I enjoyed the experience of drinking more, not being crossfaded. Because every time I've drank since this era of me smoking all the damn time, I was crossfaded because I was still smoking. So I was doing both. And drinking now that I'm sober off the weed, it's more fun. It's more enjoyable. It really is. It's like more of the experience I'm chasing after, and I feel better while I'm drinking. Like, I don't feel all weighed down like I would when I would be crossfaded. I feel like I'm like, oh, okay, this got me loose and light and having a good time. Exactly like what you're aiming for when you drink alcohol. That's why people drink alcohol, to get loose, light, have a good time. So that's been fun, and doing that on the weekend nights made it easy not to even want to like smoke weed on those nights, and that was surprising to me because a lot of people, they start drinking and then they want to smoke, then they want to hit the vape, then they want to do whatever. The vape, I still got to quit the vape. The vape I'm gonna do the vape till the weed urges stop, because I don't want to try to tackle both and then fail at both as a result, But yeah, it's it's still something that I'm working through in that regard, where I have to be patient and tell myself, yeah, you want to go smoke right now, but you're not going to. You're going to do something else, and that just is what it is. It's just how it's going to be. Have fun. Go do your thing, get out there, whatever. And that's really kind of all there is to it. That's really all there is to it. It's real simple now, because I'm so set on, I'm committing to this, and I'm going to remain committed to this, and it's so much more important than getting high. It is so much more important. Even when I have those cravings, and like there was a moment last night, because last night I didn't drink. I don't like drinking on Sundays. I looked up to where the stuff I'm about to go give away right now was, and I knew there's just enough in there for one bowl. Like, that's something I'm aware of, is I have just enough left in that grinder I'm about to give away. If I really freaking wanted to, I had the option, even after getting rid of most of my stuff earlier in the week, the very next day after that podcast, I had the option this whole time to smoke the final bowl. I didn't do it. And I'm proud of myself for that. And it's just like... Okay, just honked at me. It just means so much more to me to be sober, to be getting my life back on track, to be taking control back from this thing that, truthfully, I was living for it, man. Like, the way I would get off work and I'd be driving home, and the whole way home, all I'm thinking about is how excited I am to take that after work first rip of the day. Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be so nice. I'm going to get all high and I'm going to relax. And then my sleep quality's crap and I'm a wreck, but at least I'm getting high once a day, like at the end of the day, and I feel good then. It's so good to, like, I'm living for me, finally. For maybe the first time in my life, because I grew up a lot over the course of smoking for all those years. Weed did give me something. Like, I'm not going to act like there was no benefit to ever smoking weed. I feel like it taught me a lot about myself, especially early on, and that's why people abuse it, because they have these very profound self-discovery experiences that lead you to believe that you could keep getting that forever. You can't. It stops. It gets way different once you're doing it every day. And you don't even realize it, because it happens slowly, and it's a habit, it's a routine, and it just is what it is at that point for you, But, like, it's so nice that I'm living for me and the people I love and care about all around me. I feel so much better. I feel like a better person. I genuinely think that I'm going to be able to care for those I love and express that care and gratitude better. And it's just crazy how, I don't know, man, like I'm still going through a lot with this, and I know a lot of these impulsive thoughts might just be that. Like, out of nowhere, a few days ago, I started getting this feeling that I haven't had since before I ever really smoked, which was, I think I could change the world. I think I can make a really positive impact on the world. Why do people keep pulling up right here and stopping? Gonna cut this part out just because there's some guy stopped right here, used the restroom. It's all good. Blue collar stuff. He's wearing a Union shirt. I think he's from the studios as well, actually. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Like, even though it's only been a week, I already feel these changes happening. I guess I had more to say than I thought I had to say. But I know this stuff's only going to make more sense, and I'll get better at putting words to it as time goes on. I'm already doing pretty well at articulating my thoughts here, and I'm realizing that recording a podcast all by myself out here You could probably hear the difference in today compared to last week's episode that I recorded totally blasted. Like, I smoked right before I went and sat down and recorded that. And then, I'll be honest, I said I wasn't going to smoke after it. I smoked one final bowl right after that podcast, and that was it. I told myself, I'm going to do one last hoorah here, and that's it. And that was it. And that was legitimately it. I was a little nervous, like, is smoking this one last one a bad idea? But my thinking is, it's a few hours sooner than I would do my final smoke right before bed. I'm going to bed without it. Like, I'm doing it now to kind of help me not deal with insomnia on a Sunday night right before going into work on a Monday. I woke up on that Monday with so much more energy because of a 2-hour difference in when I smoked last before bed. And that told me alone, like, oh, crap. This is going to be good. Like, this is going to be really good. And this was the sign I needed for that, And, yeah, I'm just living a happier, healthier life now already. And I'm excited to see where it goes and share more of it pretty much every week in these episodes, at least a little tidbit. When I have guests on, I might not talk about it as much. I might talk about it more, depending on the guest. But that's just, it's all mac, no cheese, baby. And I'm starting to realize that cheese was that stank cheese, that green cheese, that weed. And I just want to be Mac, dude. I just want to be Cody Mac and live my life to the fullest and be just, that's it. That's it. Long story short, I want to live my life to the fullest. Weed was holding me back. And I'm so excited to see where this journey goes, man. I'll be sharing more. I'll be talking about this a lot. If you're thinking about quitting weed, if you just recently quit weed and this is helping you in any way, I'm glad. Because that's what it's all about, man. I really do think I have, I'm a compassionate guy. I don't know, man. I want to be a positive influence in others' lives. I want to be somebody that people remember for really, like, special reasons, I get, like, positive reasons. And I'm doing that already. Like Sky's saying, it looks great on you. We went out to a bar, and they were having a Shrek rave. There was a girl dressed up like Donkey's dragon wife, and I said, "Oh, you're the dragon that Donkey marries, right?" She's like, "Yeah, but my donkey left me after 9 years." And I said, "Hey, I just quit smoking weed after 9 years. It's not really the same, but kinda, right?" She laughed so hard. I lit up her night. She asked my name. She was like, thank you. Like, it meant so much to her. And I could tell the way I'm speaking, the way that I'm coming off right now, the way that I'm just tapped in. I'm like, even with a little bit of drink in my system potentially, it was just like the little things like that are really demonstrating to me, man, you're setting out and achieving. Did I leave my door open? No, good. You're achieving what you wanted to achieve here already, and you have a ways to go, and you're only going to get better at it. I'm excited, man. Thank you for watching episode 6 of All Mac, No Cheese. I'll catch you guys in the next episode. If it's not next week, it'll be when it comes out. I'm trying to stick to weekly. I'm trying to get back on that schedule of a weekly podcast. And I think it's actually healthy for me to schedule it now, whereas when I was smoking, it would overwhelm me. Right now, it's like, it's a good little goal. It's a good little something to look forward to. So thank you guys for watching All Mac, No Cheese. I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to get out of here. Deuces.